Welcome to AstroEnergy with Astrologer Angel Shelley Overton. Hello and welcome to the AstroEnergy show for Tuesday, April 25th, 2017. My name is Shelley Overton, and I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida, and it's good to be here with you. I have to admit that I took a little bit of herbs for like allergies, and the opposite happened because, of course, why wouldn't it? Moon is in Aries, conjunct Uranus in Aries, conjunct Mercury retrograde in Aries. And that means the opposite is going to happen. So now I've got a stuffy nose and it's tickling. So if I mute the microphone because I have to sniffle or sneeze, you'll know where I disappeared to for a second. But anyway, so welcome back. Welcome to the show this week. It is a lovely day in Orlando. We've got, well, I think it says 70 degrees, but I don't know if that's true. It says 70 degrees on my computer, so that's pretty nice. And then the sun's shining, clouds. They say it's going to get hot this week, up to 90, 94, somewhere in there. But yeah, not looking forward to the heat. They actually said that the humidity is coming back for the rest of the week, and that means miserable heat index. Well, not surprising. We have the moon in Aries, we have Uranus in Aries, and we have Mercury in Aries. So all fire signs, and Saturn retrograde now in Sagittarius, another fire sign. And then Venus, of course, is direct now, and she gets into Aries. I think I've got all my ephemerides. I don't know what the plural is. I think it's ephemerides. But anyway, my book's telling me what day everything happens, and that's coming up. So I think it's this week. So I was just circling and highlighting everything that's coming up. Venus enters Aries at 9:13 a.m. on Friday the 28th. So, boom. Yeah, so that's going to be even more fire. So, but the moon will be on into Taurus here very quickly, and then again into Gemini, because the moon is the quickest moving body in our heavens. So we're going to see. Oh, don't do this to me, no. So my computer, everything. Last week I was having such difficulty with all my electronics. I was really strongly hit by the Mercury retrograde as it went into Aries. And this week it isn't as bad, even though it's still retrograde Mercury. It isn't feeling as uncomfortable as last week. My mind and thoughts are much clearer, which of course Uranus in Aries and Mercury approaching Uranus. Uranus is clear thinking. And so you're much more aware of what's going on and how things are happening. So I am much clearer, and it is an energy where you want to clean out a lot of junk in your life, because the Pisces energy is the collector of the zodiac, and Aries, especially Uranus through Aries, wants to clean out and move on and get on with the new. So Venus is finally at the very last 2 degrees, and she will be there, like I said, Wednesday, Thursday, and then she moves in on Friday morning, Eastern time. So once she hits Aries, that's when she's really going to take off and move forward with, for you, if you're interested in selling things online, definitely Venus in Pisces is the creator, and a really great energy for actually making and creating crafts and paintings and poetry and all sorts of wonderful things, movies. But when she gets to Aries, she's going to want to self-promote whatever she has created. So great time for marketing, great time for being assertive. Definitely we'll see women basically not taking anything anymore. Venus in, and actually if you really want to see women not taking it, wait till Neptune gets into Aries, which is like next decade. But let me tell you, women in Aries means assertive and out for their own vision. And then, of course, as Venus continues on throughout the month, she's going to catch up with Uranus at the late degrees. But I think Uranus will actually be retrograde by the time Venus catches up to Uranus. Well, maybe not. Let me see. Nope, Uranus is direct until August, so that's good. Now, Venus is in Aries for the whole month of May and into the first week of June. She goes into Taurus on the 7th of June, so which is really lovely, right in time for weddings. And because Venus rules love, that's a really good month for weddings this year. So let's see what else we have. So the sun is at 5 degrees Taurus, just coming into the Taurian energy. I don't know if you felt it, but I definitely felt the shift of financial energy with that coming in. So that's really awesome. Let's see what else. So, and he's in trine. I'm sorry, I'm a little stuffy. I really apologize. Hopefully it'll go away. Give myself a little Reiki while we're sitting here. Maybe that'll help clear me up. So Saturn at 27 Sagittarius is in trine, even though he's at the end degrees. He's in an 8-degree orb of trine. And of course, the sun has already moved past that exact trine. So it's kind of an energy that's moving away. It's something that, we had, well, honestly, with sun at the end degrees of Aries, it was taking action on behalf of yourself for your company, or on behalf of yourself, meaning self-interest, doing what you wanted to do, having your own business, having local energy, much focused on being around other people that are like-minded. And because there was a trine to Sagittarius energy and Saturn, that is authority or people in corporate structures or government structures that are far away, other countries, or people of other cultures. So that was a really strong energy before the sun moved into Taurus, and now it is about the money that's coming from those connections with other people and doing things that are more desirable. Are you behaving in a way that, or even creating a path in your life that is supportive of what it is you want to do and your desires and your value and your values? So that energy is coming in more strongly now. And honestly, with the sun trine, now it's kind of doing its own thing. And in Taurus, it's a very well-worn path. Taurians tend to not want to do anything quickly. So it's one of the slower signs of the zodiac. Probably Pisces and Taurus are, I would say Pisces, Taurus, maybe Cancer too. But definitely Taurus and Pisces are the slower energies to really process and take action on things. So it is a month of digging in, maybe making your investments the way you want, looking at the market, evaluating the energy going in and what you might want to buy as far as stocks. Because Taurus, like right now I'm looking at this chart. This is, I believe, a sunrise chart that I did at 6:53 a.m. when I actually called this up. Taurus was on the horizon, which means it was like a natural chart for a Taurus or a sunrise chart for a Taurus. So when you look at the chart that way, it puts the energy of Taurus on the first house, and that would put the energy of Aries in the 12th house. So all that planetary movement that's going on in the 12th house in Aries, Moon, Uranus, and retrograde Mercury, is really lighting up your subconscious. And that can also be your dreams. So your dreams may be very active, or you might actually have insomnia because you can't focus. And let me just do a real quick chart, see what's going on right now. Okay, so all that energy right now, we have a Cancer rising here in Orlando. All the Aries energy up in the house of corporate America and the 10th house. So this time of day in, say in Orlando or the East Coast, if you're in alignment with that Cancer rising, you're going to feel much more clear-mindedness around what's going on within business, what's going on in the government. But at the same time, we've got Mercury now retrograde, so he's moving back towards Uranus. He wants to have a conversation, and he's very chatty because Mercury is a chatty guy, and that means that you may have more conversations that are probably going to not go the way you think they should, because Uranus slash Aquarius energy, which is ruled by Uranus, and ergo right now Aries energy, is going to be contrarian. That is the Uranus modus operandi, is being a contrary person. So conversations, and I have to have one later today because I've got something that I have to deal with. I don't know if I told you that I do some art lessons at Michael's, and one of my loves art. And so I have to talk to the manager there about a missing 1 or 2 paychecks. And I don't look forward to it because Mercury is retrograde approaching the moon, which is emotional, which is in Aries, it's going to be more contentious potentially. So there could be ego involved. Aries rules the first house, and the first house is the self. Can be attached to the ego. Is my nose again. Sorry, I have a little tickle. Okay, go away. Anyway, Aries is thinking or acting with the head, acting out of your thoughts very well. Let me put it another way. You behave and then you think. So act and then think. So, it's going to be passionate. It's going to be assertive, and you're just going to immediately do and not really take time to assess what's going on. So that energy is going to find its way into our conversations because Mercury rules the communication aspect and also thought. So being retrograde means that the actions taken could come back and bite you in the tush because you're going to do something that is brash and quick and not in alignment with where you're going, because it's going away from where you're heading, and it's going back over old energy. And I actually have another conversation tonight with some partners in a business venture that, again, is going to be having to confront a situation and deal with other people through conversation. So it should be interesting. And honestly, because I guess an example would be the election. When you involve Uranus, because the election was on, I don't remember if the moon was in Aquarius, but it was in a retrograde. There was a retrograde period, one of the planets going on at that time in either Aquarius or Uranus was retrograde. I can't remember. There was, off the top of my head, but there was an Aquarian influence, and obviously the opposite of what everybody thought was going to happen happened because it's contrary. So, except for, of course, everybody who voted for Trump. That wasn't contrary, but they were alternative to the masses. So that's the energy we have right now and today. So we're seeing the kind of disenfranchised energy is having a say. And today is going to be one of the peak days and Moon is at 23 degrees right now. Uranus is at 25 Aries, and Mercury is at 26. So they're all clustered within 3 degrees of each other, which means our emotions are running high, and emotions could be the trigger of what happens. I guess just, what's going on with North Korea. It's going to be an emotional thing. And quite honestly, it has to do with mothers and siblings on some deeper level, because the moon, of course, is mother energy, and Mercury is siblings or brothers or neighbors. So if you look at what's going on in North Korea, well, I know the head of North Korea has probably more daddy issues, but definitely still had mother issues. Everybody does, probably. But that is part of it and part of the behavioral aspects right now. So if you're feeling a little more assertive or aggressive or not willing to take it anymore, that's where the energy is coming from. Then the other side of the coin is Venus at 28 Pisces. She is kind of queen of let's just all get along and let's just chill. In Pisces, it's a very laid back energy. She's wrapping it up. She's the wise woman. So there's a female, and I wanted to mention more in this show. giving you some information about learning astrology, the direction of the planets. And those are people in your life. Those are representations of people, and they manifest in your environment as the archetype of whatever planet is in whatever sign. So Venus in Pisces is someone who doesn't want to rock the boat, someone who wants us all to get along, someone who is very wise and has lived a long life, potentially an old person, but could also be a younger person who's just very wise in temperament and peaceful. And then you have, and also you have Neptune in Pisces, which rules oceans. And I think imagery, I always think of the father in Little Mermaid, Trident, King Trident, because of the Trident image, and he was the ruler of the oceans. So he was a little bit more hair trigger temper, so he probably had more Aries. But the kind of the king of the oceans energy is going on as well, and there is a Jupiter inconjunct to Neptune. And so I heard on the news this morning that North Korea, excuse me, one second, North Korea is threatening to take out one of our carriers, our naval carriers. I think it was Navy, it might have been Air Force, but that's an ocean platform, for lack of a better word. So Neptune in conjunct Jupiter, Jupiter's foreign energy, people of other cultures, Libra, cooperation, retrograde, uncooperative, and in opposition to the moon today. So today is a rather intense day overall. I know there was a threat for another nuclear test this morning, but they didn't do it Korea time. So it hadn't happened this morning, quote unquote, this morning, which is their morning, not our morning. So hopefully that will hold off. But the moon, if the moon is near Uranus, Uranus is a thinking energy. Mercury is a thinking energy. It's about logic. The moon is about emotions and comfort. So if there is negotiation, it would have to appeal to a certain amount of logic and emotion, or a sense of comfort around the aggression. Like, so, okay, I'll give you this, you can have X, and then let it be some type of assertive action. That's what Aries wants us to do. And this is also translatable into our lives, into our, like everyone's, not just what's going on in the world, but personally and professionally. Like right now, like I said, in Eastern or at least Southeastern time zone, all this Aries energy is up in authority, your career, your job, the workplace, that kind of, it isn't specifically the workplace, which is the sixth house in Virgo, but it is your career and it is structure. So it could very well be the bricks and mortar place that you are going to work. Okay, so we've got, let's see, I talked about the sun. We've got all the Aries energy. There are trines also to Saturn. And the Mercury-Saturn trine is, again, foreign energy because Saturn in Sagittarius. So there's a couple energies going on right now. And it isn't even a finger of God. It's like they're in odd angles, even though Saturn is to Moon, Mercury, Uranus, a trine. There is a quintile going on with Saturn and Jupiter. So Saturn's answering to Jupiter, and then there's an opposition to the Moon and Uranus. So, well, actually, it's not Uranus because it's a little bit wide for an opposition, but it is the Moon today. So there are some answers coming in. That's what the Moon is doing, is trying to find the answers. And that, honestly, if you're studying astrology, the Moon finding the answers is an horary, Horary, which means on the hour. It's a type of astrology where you answer the question with a chart for the time the question was understood, and the Moon is a significator of the answer of that outcome. So I use that also in regular astrology, in my regular readings. And it is indicative, the beginning aspects and the end aspects of the moon going through a sign. Is it going to trine, which is positive? Is it going to sextile or conjunct a planet? And what does it do when it leaves, which is the end of that cycle, as well as the end of the connection and the aspecting other planets. So it's finishing its aspects to other entities, people, or situations. So Mars is at 2 degrees Gemini, and Gemini is the dualistic energy. It's more than one. It can be multiples. Also, it rules twins. It rules multiples. But it's taking action in more than one way and more than one front. So this would be like, I don't know, I guess war is on the brain right now, but like World War II, it was a world war because on the eastern side we had the war in Europe, and on the western side we had the war with Japan. And so it was on two different sides of the world, and so that's kind of the energy of Mars in Gemini, that there's two entities. And interestingly, Korea is kind of between, like, we're talking with China to try and keep North Korea under control. So it is three entities: America, North Korea, and China. So that's really what's going on as far as taking action, because Mars rules all the Aries energy, and with Mars in Gemini, it will be not only taking action, but action on two different fronts, but it can also be duplicity, because you say one thing here and something else there, and they're not in alignment. So Mars stays in Gemini until the 6th of June, so all of the month, and then it goes into Cancer. And as we are a Cancer country, that should be interesting, what's going on, because not only are we a Cancer country and then Mars comes on top of our sun, it means that there's probably a decision that's going to be made around that time about what we're going to do here in America, about everything. I mean, it's going to be much more focused on homeland. And then because Mars in Cancer in June is going to be square to Uranus, actually at the end of June, square to Uranus, and by then Mercury will be long gone, and Venus will probably be somewhere in the vicinity, maybe into Taurus by then. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit stuffy, you know that. I mentioned it, but yeah, so we've got Mercury in Gemini in the month of June. So even though Mars moves into Cancer, Mercury is thought, and it's going to be right there in the middle 2 weeks of the month of June. Okay, so I could ramble on and on about this. Pluto is retrograde, and that's kind of the main topic of our show right now. And so he went retrograde last Sunday, I believe. Let me look it up for sure. And my show last week I had a guest on, so I wasn't able to actually get to that particular retrograde. So I thought, you know what, this is a pretty significant event, and I really wanted to talk about it. And last Thursday, so he was at 19 degrees when he went retrograde. So many numbers flying around. Wake up. Okay. Yeah, he was at 19 degrees and 24 minutes, and he retrogrades all the way back to 16. So he is probably the quintessential 3 steps up and 2 steps back. So he ends at 16 degrees. He got us up to 19, but then we go right back to 16. So that energy, and that's where it was at the beginning of the year, 16. So pretty much everything from the beginning of the year, the shifts and changes, we're going to be reevaluating. And he actually goes direct in August, like the 3rd week of August. So up until then, we are basically reevaluating. And that is a natural pattern of Pluto. It's every year he'll retrograde for a period of between 5 and 6 months. And then we'll have to go over all of the energy of where he has been. And what does that mean? Well, Pluto rules Scorpio naturally. So if you know anything about Scorpio, it's because of Pluto. So it is major life change. It can be upheaval, and then you change your mind and go a different direction. So Pluto energy is really black and white energy. It is the energy of the psychologist or the therapist, the person who has to get to the bottom of mysteries and understanding. And so because of the nature of Pluto, he can be very dramatic. And of course, last week on the day he went retrograde, I believe it was the day Thursday, Bill O'Reilly was fired. So that was a huge shift of energy and a release for him. It came, actually, I can tell you his sun is at 17 degrees Virgo because his birthday is the same as mine, September 10th. So Pluto at 19 was within 2 degrees of a trine to his sun. So ergo, you would think that I had some major event last week, but I don't know that I can say I did. That doesn't mean it didn't happen. It was actually a very good week for me. And probably in the fallout, it was a good week for Bill O'Reilly because he made $25 million when he got fired. So it was a good earth energy for shifting and changing some energy around earth matters, which are the material world. And so Capricorn, definitely career and the material world. So both of those very clearly in the public eye, which Pluto does large scale, because Pluto takes so long to go through a sign. When it shifts direction, it affects the masses. It's an event that everyone will notice and see. And also, because he's at 19, he's still within a square orb of Uranus. And of course, Mercury is almost on Uranus, and the moon is there today. So today is a very significant day with energies going on. Saturn squaring Venus as well. There's definitely a water energy associated with what's going on. So I guess I would just say look out for that. But Pluto retrograde means that we are, I know I said we're reevaluating, but he is in the middle section, the middle decan of Capricorn. So the first 10 degrees are Capricorn, the next 10 degrees are Virgo, and the last 10 degrees are Taurus. And so it just goes around the zodiac. So he's in the Virgo segment, and the Virgo segment can rule military events and work events, health, medical. So if you're having information coming your way around those entities, that's also part of Pluto. I just found out some information today about someone that I know who said that their medical situation is not going to change. It's not going to improve according to the doctor. So, I mean, it's for those of you who are worried about me or my friend, it's more of a functional thing. It's not like life threatening or anything. It's just a shoulder. So unfortunately, that is the news, but it doesn't mean that, and I encourage them, like, that's not necessarily the case. So any of you who are experiencing the medical aspect of this retrograde, the connection to the Virgo part of your chart or the Taurus part of your chart, which also rules the body, by the way. Capricorn rules the structure, the skeleton, and the ligaments, the tendons, all of that, the joints. And Taurus rules the rest of it, pretty much, the body as an entity. And then Virgo is the health of the body. So because it will trine those energies, and again, as I've said before, when Pluto trines or any planet trines another, it isn't necessarily, I mean, it is a positive aspect, but there can be a shift of thinking, a shift of situation, and ultimately it's to the benefit, but it doesn't appear to be to the benefit right out of the gate. So, excuse me, Pluto will go back and help us understand our psychology. Like I've said, it's a psychological energy, and it's about how we are valued by other people. In Capricorn, it's how are we valued in the workplace, in the career. What are we doing with our career? Now, as it squared and is still in orb of a wide square to Uranus, that means we are, again, evaluating, is this where I want to be? Is this where my career is going to play out? What do I want to do with my life? I find it really interesting because my sister is a Gemini. She's ruled by Mercury like I am, but of course she's an air energy. And she just sold her house and is going to be closing within the month on the house, and was originally going to build a house in Seattle, but decided that they're going to build in Phoenix. So quite a different scenario. And she's got Mercury right up there on Uranus, as do I because I'm a Virgo. But so the energy for her is really strongly about doing her own thing and not letting the situation get you down. So I want to encourage you to know that it is a time of change, a time of shift. It's a time of evaluation and knowing your own inner psychology, but not telling yourself that you're wrong somehow. I mean, if astrology is giving me anything, it's the ability to be much more understanding of people's energy and how it plays out in their lives, because everybody comes into this world with a purpose. I absolutely believe that. And a drive and a path. Now, do we always know what it is? Not necessarily. In astrology, there are 12 segments of the sky, and who knows, maybe somewhere down the road there'll be 28 segments of the sky, but right now it's divided into 12 parts. So we have the influence of 12 different energies, and even though we only have 10 planets and lights that we commonly observe, we can define and divide those different energies into different interests. So your interests are in your chart. You know, there are influences in your chart. And if you're lost or drifting, it might be that you have a stronger Pisces and that you're not as passionate necessarily. Your Mars might be in Pisces, or, you know, you just may be in a cycle where the planets aren't really triggering something specifically, but everybody has Saturn in their chart. Everybody has something they're inclined to do, and not everybody is destined to live life on this planet the way everybody else does. And there is no everybody else, and that's what Uranus will show us as time goes on. And when Pluto gets to Aquarius, and I looked it up this morning, it first gets to Aquarius at 0 degrees in January of 2024. It goes retrograde back out of Aquarius into Capricorn in March, and then it goes back direct later in the year around December. It makes its final entrance into Aquarius. So we've got until 2024, and so 7 more years. And that means that what we're going through right now is in a 7-year cycle to what's going to happen when Pluto goes into Aquarius. So that means that Saturn will be, let's see, somewhere in Aquarius, about to go into Pisces from now. Yeah, no, it should be in Pisces, full on in Pisces by then. So that's going to be a very different energy, and the children born in the late 90s at the millennium are going to definitely be feeling a wake-up call and a call to action around that time with the Uranus-Neptune conjunction in Aquarius. So anyway, I guess that's pretty much all I want to say about Pluto retrograde. It means that during the months we're going to be going back over the psychology, what's going on. We're going to maybe go back to what's familiar and the values of the past, which is what Pluto likes to do. It wants to go back and reevaluate. And Capricorn definitely wants to trod back over all tradition. So if you're looking at how things should go, quote unquote, should go, we're going to have that period of the year until August. This is the time over the summer months, like, you know, the tradition of, and this is also part of Capricorn, this is not bias, but it is religion. It is traditional religious structures, traditional career paths and outlook. And Pluto will dig deep into your fears and your psychology and bring out the worries. So if you know that's going to happen from now through August, then you're better prepared to understand what's going on. And I can tell you, with Pluto squaring Uranus in Aries and all the energy going on around Aries, part of the worry is what's going to happen. I'm very fearful on a global level about what's going to happen. Keep in mind, Jupiter goes direct, and let me see, I don't think it's that long from now. It goes direct on June 9th. So we have pretty much a month of this intensity and really the posturing. I mean, honestly, Mars getting into Cancer is probably the one thing that could trigger, but right now it's a lot of rhetoric. Saturn, again, the structure in Sagittarius retrograde, Jupiter's retrograde, Mercury's retrograde, everything is like going back saying, you want a piece of this? You want a piece of this? That's the energy right now. When Venus gets into Aries, Venus likes, in Aries, likes the adrenaline rush. So she's probably going to want to fight. So if you feel that energy building over the next couple weeks, that could actually be kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. But it's also going to be a lot of schoolyard, throwing sand in people's faces, threatening to punch, that kind of thing. Mars, I would say, looking at the planets, a Saturn direct or a Jupiter direct, or even Mars directly triggering what's going on right now. Mars is actually in conjunct to Saturn, which isn't really good. It's almost an exact, let me see, at 7 degrees it's going to be an inconjunct. Oh no, I take it back. It just finished an inconjunct at 27 Taurus. And so now it's past that direct inconjunct, which honestly, personally, I'm grateful for, because if it were approaching the inconjunct, that would mean more likely something's going on there. Jupiter is inconjunct to Neptune. So definitely I think what's going on is it's going to happen around water. If something goes on with North Korea, it's going to be a water event. And so that's probably putting the ship in a lot of jeopardy. And then Mars, once it gets to Cancer here in June, that's going to square Uranus. So we'll have to see what the planets are doing around then, and hopefully they'll be in more positive aspect. Do I think something's going to happen? I think that there are a lot of egos, which is the Aries, and there's a lot of detachment, honestly, from the results and the effects that what is going on will do. Uranus rules nuclear energy, nuclear bombs, definitely nuclear bombs. And so, it's not surprising that that is something that is being threatened. So it is a trigger point for sure today, probably more than any other, with the moon right on Uranus. And it will be going over Uranus and Mercury in the course of the day. So I would still keep an eye on it for the next couple days. And moon in Taurus, it's an earth energy, so that also will be in conjunct to Jupiter when the moon goes into Taurus. Right now it's opposite, then it goes in conjunct. When it goes in conjunct, it goes into Taurus, which is the material world and the physicality of something. So that might be a more likely material event happening. Right now it's more fire, tempers, and thought processes. So anyway, I can't believe I've talked till 11:38. I'm going to take 2 quick minutes. We're going to take our callers. If you want to call in and get a reading, the number is 347-994-3365, and I'll talk to you in a minute. Sorry about that. I hope I didn't interrupt your meditative moment. I apologize. I had the dishwasher going and it started breaking down, not surprisingly. Anyway, I had a couple thoughts on the break. This is Shelley Overton. Again, you're listening to the AstroEnergy show on Blog Talk Radio. And I just also wanted to mention, because I'm having all these issues with allergies and stuff, Mercury rules respiration, respiratory issues too. So if you're having those, that's one of the expressions of the energy. And I wanted to mention that, along with it rules also chemicals on some level, like household chemicals, and Uranus definitely rules chemicals and chemistry. So, okay. Anyway, let's see who we have in the chat room, or not the chat room. Oh, I did open the chat room too, by the way. So if you want to go in there, 940. Hi, 940. How are you today?
Hi.
Hi. Who is this?
My name is Rose.
Hi, Rose. What a great name. I love that name.
Thank
I love
you.
it so much. I named my daughter Juliet Rose.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So what can I do for you today? Oh, first off, I tell you what. Let's put what I can do for you on hold for just a second. I'll take your birth information so I could get that ready for you.
All right. It's September 30th,
Okay.
1981.
Okay. What time?
5:36 a.m.
Okay. And where?
Dallas, Texas.
Cool. Okay. So what can I do for you?
I just basically want to know what I'm doing here. Like what am
Like a
I
life
supposed
purpose?
to be doing? Yeah, like a life purpose thing. Last year, my business fell apart, and I don't know, and I've just been kind of floating around since then, and I'm just trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do with myself.
Okay, well, you've got a lot of clues in your chart. Your chart is very heavy with planets in the first, second, and third houses, and then you have Mars in the 12th and Neptune in the house of home and family. So everything in your chart's telling me that you're really here to learn about yourself. Okay, it's about who you are and how you relate to a partner. So I'm guessing that part of the reason the business fell apart is because you need to learn about letting other people help you instead of always trying to help them. Is that part of your nature?
Yeah,
I can
definitely.
tell you so much. So you have Sun at 7 Libra. You have a Virgo rising. So you're right out of the gate, you're of service to people. That's a huge part of who you are. You've got Saturn in Libra right near your Sun, 5 degrees away from your Sun, in the first house, which does mean that you're here to learn how to be you. But it's in the sign of Libra that tells me that you're needing to be in a partnership. If you aren't or haven't considered it, maybe you've been that person who's like, I'll take care of everyone, I don't need anyone, or you're in relationships and then you tend to be a doormat because you're always being the giver and not the taker. This is teaching you to allow. You need to allow people to help you and allow a partner to come in, because in business, in your career, it really is about learning how to be in a partnership with someone. And whether that's business or romantic, that's what it's about for you. And it can also be, that is the sign of social work or the librarian or somebody who is the idea of love or the idea of cooperation or helping, like a therapist or a social worker. Those are like my top careers for someone with Saturn in Libra. In the first house, there could also be a connection to helping people. Well, interestingly, because the first house is an Aries house, you have a flip-flop chart in some sense. All the Aries is on the top half of your chart, and every other planet that is normally on the bottom is on the top, and vice versa. So what you are here to do is find out how you connect to others, okay? And so having Saturn in the house of Aries, even though it's in the sign of Libra, which does mean you need to find cooperation and you need to find out about partnering, it is in the first house, which is having the drive and the connection to Aries things. And And the Aries energy here could be like the combination of Saturn, Libra in the first house could be you're looking to help people through hard times, through post-traumatic stress disorder, things that happen because of war, because of emergency actions, things that might actually relate to like losing a limb or something like that, especially with the Virgo rising. I got chills when I tell you this. So I think that there's definitely a connection to maybe being a healer through therapy. If you haven't thought about that, that's a place that I would honestly encourage you to check out.
I've been teaching yoga for a while.
There you go. That's a good thing too.
Well, and that's, I was running a yoga studio for a while, and I closed my yoga studio because the operation costs were too high, and so I'm taking some time off, and then I'm pregnant again with my second baby, so I'm really happy about that, but at the same time it's kind of like, well, I can't really do much right now. I've got to just sit at home and be pregnant.
Yeah, I would say definitely focusing on the therapist thing, because not only do you have the Libra, which, like I said, is like the social worker, you want to help everyone. Your second house is ruled by Libra. Jupiter, which is a planet of fortune, is in Libra, so you're literally 1 degree off a Jupiter return, which means transformation. Okay, so you are in a very not only is it transformative, but right after it goes direct, it finishes the sign by hitting your Pluto, which is major life change around therapy, and Mercury's in, and then right after that you have a Mercury moon conjunction at 2 degrees Scorpio. You have Venus 7 degrees away from Uranus in Scorpio, which is therapist, psychologist, and Venus-Uranus are in your third house, which is like broadcasting, communication, talking to people, and finding out, like therapy and mysteries are your thing. So anything that relates to that. So it's research, again, psychology, therapy, and if you can't leave the house, I think it's perfectly fine. Saturn's in your house of home and family, which is Saturn's career, through the home and family, and right now it's retrograde. You do have some time. You have to, physically, Sagittarius is a physical sign. It needs to be active. It's retrograde. It is the planet Saturn, so there is restriction going on. At the end of the year, it's going to get to Capricorn. I think it's the 18th or 21st of December. And then once it gets into Capricorn, it's really wrapping up some energy around the home and family. And I don't know when you're due, but you're probably going to move.
In September.
Okay. So probably end up going, something's going to shift and change around the home and family. Obviously, you're having a child. That's a big one. And then when Saturn gets going forward, it's moving through, I think probably you might not move until next year, like middle of next year. But Saturn will be working through there. So and it's also Saturn rules Capricorn. As it goes into Capricorn, it's in your house of home and family. So it could be career in the house. So that's really kind of the bottom line. What I'm trying to encourage you about is that, you can earn a living out of your home if you want. And especially with Uranus in the house of joint finances, that's about being your own boss. And if you already were your own boss outside, the structure's changing for a reason. And I guess I wanted to encourage you about that, because you said, oh, well, it dissolved, it ended. Your career isn't over. It's just changing venues. I think if you
I definitely feel like I'm in like a chrysalis phase right now. Like everything was one way for so long, and then it just kind of went, and now I'm at home, and I'm just I feel, I'm under the blankets in the morning, and I'm just like, I'm in a little cocoon. What's going to happen when I come out?
Oh, well, I can tell you're going to have 2 kids instead of 1. That'll keep you busy.
Yeah.
But let's just look at August, September, because August is when Pluto goes direct, I think. It's retrograde. I thought it was August that it goes direct, but it could be no, it's late September. I'm sorry, that was my fault. Late September. It goes on the 29th of September. When are you due? What day?
In late September, yeah.
Yeah, right in time for Pluto to go direct. Very interesting. So, your baby is going to be right there on the cusp. So I hope it's going to be the 29th or 30th. And it'll be like, bam, out of the gate. I'm here to create change. But I can tell you, your baby's life, one way or the other, the first, probably if you have the baby, in the last week, anytime in the last week, your baby's going to have major life changes coming in, like moves or that kind of thing within the first 7 years or 5 years. So definitely a late September birthday is here for a purpose. Definite materiality and independence, and yeah, it's the children born right now are definitely here for a change, and they have a major purpose in shifting what the world's shaping into. But for you, let's see. I'm just looking here real quick for you. You've got Saturn moving forward. Okay, so Saturn goes into Capricorn on the 21st of December, and you have a 13-degree Capricorn cusp when the home and family ends. So I just want to see where that is. Saturn. Okay, so yeah, it's going to take till the end of December next year. So you're probably, I would say, you may not move. The only thing that could potentially trigger a move for you would be Saturn going into Capricorn, because it is a shift of sign within that house. And you're going from a certain amount of freedom, and that's the yoga. And that's actually probably what triggered the shift around your business. So, and I want to say that I don't think you totally, completely understand what power your family life is going to have over you. And I think when Saturn gets into Capricorn, because you have Neptune in Sagittarius, for you, it's about freedom. Sagittarius is always about freedom, and having Neptune there, you idealize freedom around the family. You want to be able to pick up and go. You want to have, the travel and interest of new events, and yoga is definitely the lower half of the body. It's Sagittarius energy. So what's going to happen is when Saturn gets into Capricorn in December, it's going to shift how you think about the family structure, and you're going to be in a different mindset than you are right now. You're going to be much more willing to do kind of the traditional role. But at the same time, your career with Saturn there, your career is going to focus more to the home environment. So if you wanted to have those people there, I would, and again, at the end of next year, if you do end up moving your business into your home, it will not only help you with logistics with 2 small kids, but it will also give you flexibility of time, and you might, in a year, when Saturn gets out of that house, that tells me, like, you may already be doing your job, and you're like, now I need more space, and then you can move on to get the space in the home, and you're probably going to be doing your business from the home. I think that's part of the major shift, and especially at the end of next year when Saturn squares your natal Saturn, it is asking you what kind of structure you want out of family life and creative life. Pluto is not long in your house of children. It's only 6 degrees in, and it just went there in the last year. So it's a brand new shift for you as well around children, and that's a Capricorn structure. So I do think that you could utilize the family as part of a springboard for your career, and that maybe instead of focusing on a certain demographic with your yoga, you could focus on an older demographic and maybe find people who, and I can tell you, my parents and anybody who's over 60 say, their joints are stiffening, they don't get out as much, maybe shift your
That was
practice.
always my most popular class, was my seniors class. I love working with seniors.
Yeah, exactly. So you get into that, and the Saturn energy right now on its way into Capricorn is going to be about that. So if you focus more on the senior side of it, do the family, have your children, that could be a direction for you. But with Saturn in the first house, it could be self-promotion, getting a partner, learning more about yourself as part of your life purpose, and then also the therapy for people. So I hope that helps.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for the call. And call back again anytime. Take care.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye. Okay, 202. Let's see if we can get them up. Hi, 202. How are you?
Hey there, doing good. How are you?
Good. Who am I talking to?
Kay.
Kay? Okay. Oh, I see. You called. So March 5th, 1980?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, wonderful. What can I do for you today?
Well, I just experienced a breakup. What was that last week?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But it was meant
This
to
one,
be. That timeline, it's very much kind of your path included that. But I'm sorry, go ahead and finish and then I'll get to what I see.
oh no, that's what I want. I want to know what you see. I want you to
Okay.
do exactly what you're doing.
Okay, well, so again, last Thursday, Pluto went retrograde. So it's about shifts and changes and, like major breakups. And Pluto in your chart, it was right at the end degrees of your first house, and then it retrograded. So there's something you need to learn about your own dogma. And if you're not, I don't know how many people really know that word, but dogma is just like when you dig your heels in and say, this is my belief system and this is how I think and that's the way it is.
Yeah, that's exactly why yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's dogma. So as Pluto retrograded, it's like now I'm not quite done really understanding my motivations, understanding my belief systems. Not only that, you have Saturn in the first house as well, and he's retrograde now too, within 5 degrees of your natal Neptune. So what this is telling you, these two planets, Saturn and Pluto in your first house, Saturn's telling you, I really need to play. I really love the energy of youth. I love the energy of nature and activity and travel and expression and transformation and education, all these things that are your greatest dream for you and your life. And really there's this really strong energy too about fulfilling your dreams in this world. So you came in with Neptune 7 degrees into your first house, which means you wanted to learn about manifesting this incredible freedom and educational side of yourself. And if you haven't done it, Saturn retrograde is trying to wake you up to the fact that you're not really making your dreams come true. If you are doing it, then it's renovating how you're going about doing that. And but it wants you to either be a teacher or teach yourself because Neptune's in the first house. It's about us. It wants you to take action. I mean, like, it wants you to take action. It's the first house, which is an Aries house. And so Aries energy is overlaid onto this. And then Sagittarius is about moving on and always staying on the go. You've got Pluto, the Pluto energy of the breakup. It was like, you're not completely focused on your needs yet or understanding who you are. So that's why that had to happen. This last retrograde this year, because it retrogrades every year, but this is the last one it retrogrades in your first house. So I believe, let me think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it might go briefly in next year, but you're pretty much, this is the meat of what you're trying to learn. And so that's why that happened. Pluto just went retrograde. It won't go direct until August, and then it won't get out of that house probably until the end of the year. Jupiter also is retrograded at 16, and it's within 5 degrees of your natal Pluto at 21. So Jupiter right now is squaring Pluto, and it's on your natal Pluto, which is about marriage and partnership because Pluto in your chart is in Libra. And it's the same exact degree of your moon. So this is a major, this for you, your career, your relationships, marriage, partnership, all of it's wrapped up around mom and authority. So mom and dad, because it is the house of dad, Capricorn, but it's moon. So either mom was the person you looked to for your career, or you have things holding you back because of how you had a snapshot of your mom or the relationship with your mother. And you're having to go back over that dynamic. I would suggest, and for anybody listening live, the show's going to be over in 5 seconds, but I'll continue to help you until we're done here.
Is it permanent, the breakup?
I think you'll revisit it, but quite honestly, because of the timing, I would say that it's pretty significant and it's there for a life lesson. So it's not like Oh yeah, the Venus was retrograde and now it goes direct and it was in the middle and you're just picking back up and it's on your moon. It's not like that. It's like this is something that the universe is saying, here's your mirror. You really need to look at who you are. And when Pluto goes direct into the second house, it is a major change around the relationship. If it didn't happen last week, it was still going to happen.
Yeah.
Pluto into the second house, it's the relation, Taurus is about relationships. It's about love
Mhm.
relationships. And Pluto is major life change. So I think also at the same time, what you're needing to look at in your chart for your life is your second house Capricorn. It's the whole second. Well, I take it back. The first 8 degrees of your second house relationships is about commitment and reliability. That
Yeah.
isn't necessarily something that, I mean, you do have a lot of Virgo. You have Saturn in Virgo, but even your Virgo is in your Sagittarius house, which is kind of, I'm moving on. I don't want to stick around. I want to go find the next interesting thing. So Pluto
Mm.
going into Capricorn is really trying to show you, if you buckle down and structure yourself and create systems and organize yourself, you can have what you're looking for, but you have to give credit to the need for that freedom. So instead of saying,
Mm.
well, I can't have a relationship because I have this strong need to keep moving on, Pluto and Capricorn is going to say, okay, you want that structure, so find someone like yourself. Find someone who needs that same, you know, adrenaline rush, or you know what I mean? And you have Venus
Yeah.
at the last degrees of your house of home and family with Mercury retrograde, Uranus transiting, and Moon transiting today. So your Venus is within 2 degrees of Mercury retrograde. It just had Mercury run over it. So
Mm.
that's also a transition. So you've got all these things saying you have a very youthful energy. Your home and family is ruled by Aries. So Aries is the new fresh energy of a newborn child. So you want to have freedom and fun. That's part of your life purpose. Saturn up there in education. If you're not doing education or travel or spiritual pursuits, you're not doing what your life wanted to do when you came in. So Pluto's going to make
Mm.
sure, if you're not where you need to be, it's going to give you the opportunity to make that change. And if this person left your life, chances are they weren't somebody who was giving you what you truly need for this life before you're gone. You want to do your life and get the things done that you came here to do. While we're here, it seems so real and so like, oh, I'm supposed to have this car or this house or whatever. We're only here for a short time and then we're back over
Yeah.
on the other side. So if
Yeah.
you chose to come here for a life purpose and you're not pursuing it, and
No, you're right. You're
it's
right.
like,
For me, it's
oh,
film and
is
TV.
it awesome? Film's
Mhm.
awesome.
And
And
I do need
Neptune's,
to buckle down. You're right.
well, you've got Sun and Mercury in Pisces in your house of communications. Neptune is 1 degree off of your Sun right now. It's at 13. Your Sun's at 14 Pisces. That is film.
Mhm.
Have you written your script? I mean, Mercury in Pisces in the third. You're a writer. Or do you write scripts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, I submitted some scripts. I need to do some, because I have to do it on the side because, it's not how I make my money yet, and
Okay.
it's just, I've just been tired. And I know that's a
Uh-huh.
bullshit excuse,
No, no,
but
no,
I've
because
been slacking,
I'm telling you,
exhausted.
Pisces, Neptune in Pisces it rules sleep for a reason. It rules dreaming for a
Yeah, I
reason.
just want to
It's
sleep.
it's like, oh, I just want to go to sleep. Well, okay, so look at it differently. Sleep is there as a means to connect to spirit, and dreaming is one of the easiest ways for spirit to come through and give you information. So if
Mhm.
you are inclined to be sleeping more, and
Mhm.
you have Neptune in the first house, so again, there's that Neptune connection to film. Foreign film would be good for you too. Neptune and
Mm.
Sag is foreign film. So if
Okay.
you know people, foreign investors or people of other cultures that want, I would focus there. You
Okay.
also have a Jupiter ruling Sag up in your house of Sagittarius in the ninth. So definitely Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter all in your ninth house are foreign people. So I would focus on getting funding from other sources out of the country or people of other cultures. And then
Okay.
use the dream world to write. I mean, I'm telling you, you're pretty much channeling, downloading ideas. Get them down because that's what Spirit's doing for you. That's what that Neptune is doing.
I have them in
Highly
note
spiritual.
form. I just need to put it together, like really,
Yeah.
that
And your
attention
film,
span.
your films will heal people. Okay. I don't know if you've done anything with abuse, but that also has potential in your chart, like to help heal people from abuse.
Because of the Pluto moon conjunction?
No, more from Venus in 28 Aries, and then all your Virgo planets up there in the, not that the Virgo planets have anything to do with abuse, but, it's up there in healing and teaching. So it's part of your, and also you have a North Node at 29 Leo, which wants to be up there and get the spotlight for things. And the North Node's right there right now, so you're kind of in a nodal return, pretty close, very close to it, like within a degree. So
now with the guy, I think I've heard in astrology sometimes people build in backwards what they need, and for me, when you were talking about the Pluto, it was about the rules. It's like, this is my belief. I will not accept this in my relationship, and what this was like just having female friends with that you have a sexual history with. I was like, I can't. I'm not okay with that, and I was rigid about it. He was rigid about it, and then we just moved on,
Well, I totally get that. Yeah, definitely the Venus in Aries. It's like, when it comes to love, it is. It honestly, it is. But
it really is.
You also, have Neptune and Sag in the first house, so you have like this. I think you may attract. You're attracted to guys who are the type of guy who is more charismatic and out there in the world.
Absolutely.
So it makes it a little more difficult because if you're attracted, a lot of women are attracted. So, but you have to have your boundaries, and absolutely. So that's definitely Pluto's showing you that. So when Pluto gets back into your house, the Taurus house, the second house, let me find out when that is for you, and then I have to wrap it up. It's not going to be.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So helpful.
It's actually going to be 2019. It's going to be in your first house, and really it's wrapping up a lot of issues around that for the next two and a half years, because it doesn't really get technically out until 2019. And let me tell you, 2020 is a huge, huge year for everybody, because that's when Saturn gets into, I think it's Saturn's in Aquarius in that year.
Oh, really?
And
probably,
it's
right. Because Capricorn's coming up.
Yeah, so it's just really a big year for everyone. 2020. It's also numerologically, think about it, vision is 2020, and it is a very big enlightening year. So you've got a few years left of that Pluto at the very last degrees of your first house, really solidifying how you see yourself. And this is pretty much the time in your life when this is who I am. You've structured yourself, and this is really gelling what you want to take in. And then it's also, when Pluto's going direct, it's really starting to trigger you to want to make the structures that bring in the money and own the credibility, have the credibility. So that's coming for you too. Anyway, there you go.
So you don't think there's anything wrong with me making that rule and sticking to it?
No, I mean, it's seriously, it's your personal, it's your
comfort.
Personal belief. But at the same time, if you want to challenge it, honestly, if you look at why you don't like, and you can definitely have that rule and just go on about your life and never challenge it. And I believe to say, it's like, I don't want to. I mean, honestly, it's not easy I have guys that I've been intimate with that are still in my life. Only one's practical because I had kids with them, but I am personally a person who, when it's done, I move on. But for some reason, some guys still want to be friends, and they're in they're out there, but I don't interact on a regular basis with them. They're just kind of like, they'll touch base on Facebook or something. But I'm saying, like, no, I don't want the old energy hanging around. Like moving on.
Need, a weird old need. Yeah, it's an attachment.
Exactly. It's like, okay, I'm done. And you have Uranus and Scorpio in the 12th. So when you are done, you are done. It's like, you want it to be done. But anyway, so coming in, it's more about are your values, what, like owning what you want to do. So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, Pluto's in trine to your Saturn, so this is a huge time of shift around finding your path in your career, and it really is owning your authority, owning your credibility in the industry. That's what you're shoring up. So I don't think you're going to have problems having a partner. I mean, you've got a lot of positive energy coming in the summer of this year, with Mars going into your house of marriage and partnership, and then it goes into commitment, and then it moves on up to the ninth house, and then it hits your Saturn, your Mars, your Jupiter and Saturn. So by the time Mars gets up to Virgo, it's going to be a lot about, your career life, which I'll tell you is October, late September, October. Yeah, and that's a big time anyway, with Jupiter going into Scorpio. So I've given you almost a full reading. I've got to go. The show's over.
You have, and I thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Okay, take care. Have a good day. Okay, bye. Anyway, thank you. That's the show. If you'd like to get a hold of me, go to astrologerangel.com, and there are plenty of options on the first part of the page right there to just click over and shoot me an email and wish me luck clearing up my stuffy nose. And I'll see you next week, and take care. And that's the end of the show. Bye. Thanks for stopping by AstroEnergy this week. If you would like to get a hold of Shelley Overton, you can get her at astrologerangel.com, on Facebook at AstroEnergy or Astrologer Angel. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com, with additional music by Ironwood Rain. Check them out on the net at ironwoodrain.com.
Napa know-how. The Napa guy knows not to judge a man by his car's multicolored paint job or absence of modern gadgetry. Who cares if it's technically old enough to vote and the windows are powered by the strength of your left arm? Your monthly payment is zero, and it'll stay that way. Because with over 500,000 parts and a little Napa know-how, you can keep anything on the road. She may not be pretty, but she's all yours. That's Napa know-how. Napa know-how.
Bonefish Grill is redefining happy hour with an all-new handcrafted happy hour served 4 to 6:30 p.m. every day, including weekends. Enjoy $5 handcrafted martinis and cocktails like the Blueberry Lemon Drop and Tropical Tiki Martini. $4 house wines and $6 bar bites like sushi-grade ahi tuna poke, crispy cod sliders, and more. Come see their fresh new look at one of our newly remodeled locations in the Orlando area or visit bonefishgrill.com.
To subscribe, please click the picture of Shelley on the right or the red button below.